Hello again. I'd like to take a few minutes this time to speak about rhythm, the second of our basic elements. Some forms of art, painting and sculpture, for example, exist in space. Music doesn't have a physical presence. It exists in time. And rhythm is the feeling of movement, the way the various sound events that make up any piece of music proceed through time. Terms that relate to music are relatively few compared to some of the other elements, but they are very essential, and you may find a couple of them a little challenging to distinguish between. Meter is just a pattern of stressed beats in music. So if you're listening to a waltz, a kind of a dance, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We call that a triple meter. If you're listening to a march, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. We have 2 feet, so it's a duple meter. The stresses occur every 2 beats, every other beat. Most popular music is in what we call common time, which is where there's a pattern of 4 beats. And it's called common time because it is so frequently used. Tempo, the Italian word for time, just means how fast or how slow a piece of music is going. Now, this can be a little tricky. You can listen to a piece of music and have the sense that it's speeding up or slowing down. Sometimes it is. Sometimes the music is going at the same tempo, but more instruments are added, or the instruments start playing shorter note values. When you're listening to a piece of music, if you think about the speed that you would tap your foot to or snap your fingers to, that's going to be the tempo. And I think you'll find when you hear music change that very often it has to do with how thick the texture is, how many sounds there are happening at once, or how quickly the notes are being played inside of that basic meter that I just spoke about. In written music, at the very beginning of each first page, they write down the time signature, which shows you the meter of the music. So it could be 2/4 time, 2 quarter notes worth of time in each measure. Written music, if you're not familiar with it, appears in small units called measures or bars, and the length of the bars relates to how many beats there are in the meter, 2, 3, 4, or some other number. Occasionally, you will hear a figure called an ostinato. This is the Italian word for obstinate. Basically, what this means is a clearly defined phrase. It could be a rhythm, or it could be a bit of melody that's repeated persistently. And what this means is repeated many, many, many times over and over again. So there are places where music repeats itself 2 or 3 times. That wouldn't be an ostinato. It's just almost incessant, endless repetition. But that's a device that some composers use, as you will be hearing. Syncopation is a very interesting musical device. Rhythmic stress on an unstressed beat. So when you hear somebody lean into a note, whether they're singing or playing an instrument, outside of the beats, off of the beats, that is what syncopation is. That's what makes funk sound funky. That's what makes ragtime music. You'll be hearing a little bit of that. It was originally called music in ragged time because of the syncopation. You'll hear syncopation there as well. Rubato is a pretty cool thing in music. It's an Italian word that literally means robbed. So what happens here is the tempo is flexible. It gradually speeds up and slows down. So you sort of steal a little bit of time from one place and put it back in another place by speeding up and slowing down. You can hear music that has different steady tempos. A piece of music can start off quickly and go at a steady tempo and then change to a different tempo and go more slowly and then go back to the first tempo. That would not be rubato. Rubato is where the music is constantly changing in terms of the tempo, how fast or how slow it goes. So, as you can see here, back in our guide for describing music, if you find your way down to rhythm, once again, we can talk about the character or mood of the rhythm. Could be lively, happy sounding. Many tempo indications in music are Italian terms. Allegro means happy or spirited. Largo means slow or gloomy. The level of activity, As I mentioned, the level of activity in the music can change while the tempo stays the same. You'll have to do a little bit of listening maybe to make that distinction, but I'm sure that you'll be able to do that. Tempo and meter I've already spoken about. Straight and swing rhythm. Straight, most rock music is straight. A lot of popular music is in straight time. Bum, 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 bum. Swing would be ba da 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 ba da 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 da. A lot of dance music, a lot of jazz is swung. Those are two distinctions in the way meter can be presented. And I've already spoken about rubato as well. So, just a little bit of additional information to hopefully facilitate your ability to hear and make sense of rhythm in music. Have fun listening for that, along with all the other basic elements. Thanks.